right. Welcome to Win Me the Lottery, episode 5, with me, Chris, and
Tony.
And this is the show where we try and win the lottery every single week. And this week, Tony, we're talking about holidays. Dream holidays. And I think we're both sort of in the mood for a holiday right now, aren't we?
Well, last week we were talking about the drudgery of work. So, I don't know, I think I was sounding a little bit negative about work.
You were. It was a bit alarming.
And to be honest, I think it's something that I should be grateful for. Because let's be honest, cost of living crisis out there, there's not a lot of jobs going around. It seems like our people are just scrambling out there to pay their mortgage, to pay for the bare necessities of life. And I'm lucky to have a job and I'm grateful. However, there's a feeling that's still going on with me that I think I found a solution to the drudgery, Chris.
Yeah, what's that?
I think I just need a holiday.
Need a holiday. You just need to refresh every once in a while, right?
I think so. I think it's all about balance, Chris. So when we talk about manifestation, if you're constantly using your conscious energy to manifest numbers, you're using a lot of emotion, using a lot of maybe a portion of luck that the universe is giving to you that you've kind of used that week. It hasn't been replenished. You need to take a break. You need to go on holiday, regroup, realign, and then come back and start the manifestation again.
Come back with a fresh mind to look at those numbers just through a different lens, potentially. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be thinking about what would be your dream first holiday if you won the lottery. And I'm quite excited about it, Tony.
And I think when you look at holidays, people do go on holidays for inspiration.
Yep.
Sometimes people do go on holidays for an all-inclusive. They want to lounge on the beach, by the pool, have an all-inclusive meal, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and really just kind of really enjoy themselves. Or people actually want to go on excursions. They want to
find themselves. They might say they're going on a holiday to find different cultures. What they really want to do is find themselves and understand themselves on that holiday, whether it be a yoga retreat, whatever it is. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to explore today. But I think, Tony, in segment 1, the very first thing we've got to look at is what were the lottery numbers last week and what was the jackpot?
So, the news is that we didn't win this week, I'm afraid, Chris.
Oh.
But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, that just means that we just need to do it again for next week and then maybe the week after and the week after until we eventually win. But I'm up for it if you are, Chris, for the journey.
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes in life or, sometimes it's the journey that is most fun. And if we were to win it, like if we won it last week, the journey would have ended.
It would have been a bit too soon, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it almost is like the universe is saying, not just yet. Your time will come, but the universe clearly wants more podcast episodes. I think that's what it's saying. That's what the universe is saying.
It wants us to find ourselves before we win the jackpot. And what's wrong with that?
I think so. It's almost like they're saying, you need to do all this planning. You need to figure out what house you're going to buy, what holiday you're going to go to, and therefore it will kind of give us that right jackpot and map for us to kind of have our ideal home, our ideal holiday, our ideal watch, our ideal car. We'll go through all of that. So what are we working with this week? I mean, this is no surprise. It's £4 million. Again. So, Chris, I don't know about you. I think, should we just reframe the show to like how to win 4 million? I mean,
that's a new title.
I think that's the way that is heading.
Win me 4 million.
But yeah, so 4 million was the jackpot. What were the winning numbers? So the winning numbers were 10, 16, 20, 22, 47, 52, and bonus ball 26, machine name Arthur, and ball set 3. So if I move on to what were my numbers, So it was 5, 13, 24, 27, 31, and 36.
So not a single match in sight.
So no matches at all this week, I'm afraid,
But
Chris.
Tony, I mean, I don't want to look ahead too far, but I do want to keep people interested in this week's podcast. We do have a guaranteed way to win the lottery coming up later on this episode. So, no matches this week, but we've cracked the codes. We've got a formula, and you've got to stay listening to find out what that is.
Brilliant. I mean, Chris, this is the kind of value that we're giving to people that listen. So we're almost giving them the insight. It's almost like the secrets to winning the lottery.
No, that's what it's all about.
Obviously, we want to win it first before they do.
Yeah.
But
slowly but surely, right?
let's all be winners. Why can't we all be winners?
Let's share it.
Let's share it. I mean, someone's got to win it every week. Why not us this week? And then it could be Gertrude from last week. If she's paying attention, she could win the next week's one. So, no matches. 4 million is the same jackpot. But what could 4 million get you? I mean, if we're on the theme of holidays, for me, it's like it can get you a few good holidays.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not the most adventurous guy when it comes to holidays, Chris. I mean,
I know.
You've been on holiday before, right, Chris?
I have a couple of times, yeah.
I wasn't much of a holiday goer, to be honest. I was quite a frugal guy growing up.
You just love the UK, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. Butlins, Pontins. You went to all the different places.
I wanted to. I mean, to be honest, they're not really that cheap. When you look at it's like,
really?
Yeah. I did look at Butlins. I'm like, I'll just go to Butlins rather than going abroad to, say, Spain. And I was like, why does everyone go to Spain? Because in a way, you could go to a different country with the money that you spend by staying in the UK. And let's be honest, from when I look at current affairs a lot, Chris, and I'm like, clearly I'm in the right place. Why are all these people getting in all these kind of trucks to try and get to the UK? There must be something happening here that is quite interesting. I'm already here. I should enjoy it.
It can't be that bad,
It
right?
can't be that bad. And I do like my fair share of sunshine. But too much of it, it does kind of, I do get a little bit
Sweaty
or overheated. I don't particularly enjoy it when it gets too intense. So I think the temperatures of the UK is almost, it's not perfect, but it's palatable to me.
You like a grey 18-degree day with a bit of drizzle, right?
Exactly. I don't want to be kind of having to put sun cream every single
who
every
wants
few
all
hours.
that? It's just a hassle.
But that's holidays, on Earth. But I think there's some holidays that you've been kind of exploring.
Out of this world holidays, Tony. Yeah, so I mean, just on this topic of holidays, obviously I was looking at the 4 million jackpot again. And I thought to myself, okay, 4 million, it's not much. Would that even get you on one of those Virgin Galactic or SpaceX flights? And actually, yes, it would. 360 grand per head to get on a Virgin Galactic flight to outer space. But Tony, it only lasts for 60 minutes. So I think your per minute cost there is quite high.
Super high.
But 360 grand, I think, obviously it's all right if it's just one of you. But imagine if you're bringing your partner, the kids. Suddenly that's going to start adding up, isn't it?
I mean, if you're talking about the typical family of, 2 parents and 2 children, £360 per person.
It's 1.4 mil.
Okay, let's just pretend that there might be a discount for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about almost a mil there. And then the rest, you're just trying to pay off the house and then maybe a few additional holidays down the line. That's it. But hey, you'll be in that kind of small percentage of people that have been to space.
Well, Tony, I don't know. I think you do your 60 minutes and then 10 minutes later you'd be thinking, what the hell did I just do that for?
Yeah.
You could have stayed at home. You've got all kinds of VR, immersive technology now where you might as well be in space.
Yeah, you could maybe watch, what's those 2 movies that are very kind of similar to each other? It's like Interstellar and what's the other one?
The one with Matt Damon. Or was that Interstellar?
No, I swear there was 2 of them. There's
Yeah.
like Interstellar and...
Isn't it where Matt Damon is on the
Mars,
moon on his own?
Mars, yes.
Yeah, on Mars on his own.
Yeah. So you might as watch that, or one of my favourite sci-fis is just watch like Starship Troopers. Yeah, I'll pretend I'm
absolutely.
shooting some bugs on some alien planet, really. But yeah, I feel like the theme of holidays. I mean, why wouldn't you go on holiday? And that's that's our topic of the week, which we'll go into shortly.
Which we will. But I did also look up, because obviously Virgin Galactic 360 grand. And then you probably remember, Tony, from a few months ago, that really tragic story where they were in the submarine going to find the Titanic. And you don't mess with the Titanic. Didn't they learn from Leonardo DiCaprio? But I did look that up, and that was 200 grand when it existed. So you could even do that with a 4 million jackpot. I don't think it'd be advised. I don't think it's even possible anymore. But don't mess with the Titanic. That's what I'm saying. If you want to do something with the Titanic, go to Belfast. They've got a really good museum.
Okay, there's 2 points I want to make about that, Chris. I mean, first of all, is that this is not new news. People on the internet are still outraged that Kate Winslet at the very end was floating on that piece of luggage or whatever. There was clearly there's space for 2 people on that thing. And it's, again, that still grinds my gears. And I guess the second point is probably not specifically about the Titanic in that kind of period, but about the Titanic, the wreck, and obviously that the submarine that kind of went down and unfortunately kind of I guess it kind of exploded underwater is probably the most plausible explanation why they didn't discover it. But we've seen the videos of what it looked like in there. It's like you're a millionaire, or you're quite wealthy, right?
Billionaires, some of them.
Why would you risk it? Why would you risk going in some type of
Boredom.
tin
It can only
can
be
contraption to look at something that is, you could get someone else you could watch a video or something like, and it's not even the most it's like an Xbox controller and you're sitting on the floor and you got maybe a bucket to go to the toilet in.
You could do that in your bedroom, Tony. I mean, it sounds a lot like your bedroom, actually. Xbox controller sitting on the floor, bucket to go to the toilet.
You're not far, you're not far off, Chris. Growing up, I think I've upgraded. I mean, to be using the ensuite.
Right. Okay.
Actually, I haven't got an ensuite. That's why I'm trying to play lottery.
Yeah.
One would like an ensuite.
We'll bring one towards us. Absolutely. But yeah, that's what we're going to come on to with the holiday. But Tony, we've had a couple of emails in again this week, and if you just remind our listeners of the email address.
Sure. I mean, I'm not sure if I should. I mean, I need to go through all the emails first before we get new ones.
Still got a few unread.
Just say SLAs. I mean, I don't know what the SLAs, but a few weeks to get back. Yeah. But it's tony.win.lotto@gmail.com. So a lot of messages that have come through, but I think there's a particular one that you wanted to...
Yeah, there's a lot of messages. We can't go through them all, but this one really stood out to me, which was Craig in Chichester, who's emailed us in. And obviously we were talking before about, would you quit your job? And Craig just told us in no uncertain terms, I would quit on the spot. And Craig has been seeing his boss, who he works with, and his boss is married. And all he said is, his boss says they will leave their husband for Craig if they no longer work together. But Craig hasn't said what the gender of his boss is or any other details other than that. So leave it to our imagination. But Craig would quit on the spot, he says, so that he can be with his boss. But Craig, I don't know, Tony, what you think, but just don't be hasty. Obviously, it's 4 million at the moment. You need to think that through, I think, rather than just quitting straight away. Do you, can you verify that your boss would quit?
I think
be with you, I should say.
My first impressions of this is that I'm not judgmental at all. I think if there's true love there, and there's genuine true love, he should just follow his heart.
Follow your heart.
And I do think it's a good idea that... Did he say his manager would think about quitting as well?
So what he said is that... No, that was my mistake. His boss has said they will leave their husband for Craig if they no longer work together. Okay. So I think the boss is actually going to stay in the job.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
But... he would have to leave.
He has to leave.
Because
Craig has to leave.
if HR finds out,
Yeah, they're in big trouble.
yeah, you can't have a manager subordinate relationship.
But I find that quite interesting, don't you? That obviously the boss has said to Craig, if we didn't work together, we'd make this official or something like that. Do you think that's a bit of an excuse? Obviously, we don't want to hurt Craig's feelings.
So, you know what? I think it's a tough one. And you know what I think Craig should do?
What's that?
I think he should go on a holiday and really think about it.
Find himself.
Before he makes any rash decisions.
It is good advice. We've said it before on this podcast. Just keep your counsel. Never rush into things. Think them through. And what I'm going to say to Craig is, okay, it's one thing if you win the lottery, but I definitely don't advise that you quit on the spot unless you've come into either another job offer that suits you or a windfall that you know and you have a plan of what you're going to do with it.
I think that's wise advice. I mean, again, when we talk about kind of being on this journey of financial freedom, yes, we're playing a lottery to achieve financial freedom. But in the meantime, you should be kind of sensible about your own kind of financial stability. And you're I can agree more, Chris, that he should not jack in the job straight away. There's lots of emotion that's happening here. The kind of relationship with the boss, all types of kind of infatuation, sexual energies playing with his mind. You know, he's got kind of all things going on. And a holiday might be just the right thing just to get away and really kind of consider these things. And who knows, he might even meet the love of his life on holiday.
Well, that's another thing about holidays, holiday romances.
Exactly. They're not, you know, he's not going to be a home wrecker. I mean, does the boss have kids? We don't know that.
It doesn't say about kids. Okay. All it says is the boss has a husband.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, you know, a holiday may be the best next step, which is a perfect segue to our topic of the week. And what is our topic of the week, Chris?
It is your dream first holiday after you win the lottery, Tony. And what do you think yours would be?
So...
Okay, can I have a guess before you even get into it?
Go on.
I reckon it's going to be package holiday, booked in Seoul, probably on Expedia or somewhere like that. Am I on the right lines?
You're not far off, to be honest. I am a creature of habit in that regard. But the difference is between any holiday or when you start thinking about a holiday is when we're thinking about, you know, this topic of the week, your first holiday, we're not just talking about any old holiday. We're talking about a holiday now that you are a millionaire.
Oh, your first holiday as a millionaire.
So, package, you know, I'm not going to be looking at the same package holidays here. I'm going to be kind of expanding how adventurous I could potentially get.
So that's what I mean. You've probably upgraded from Hostel World to Expedia, right?
Potential, or even beyond. I mean, I don't even know what else is out there, really. I mean, if you really put them on the spot, I mean, we're all on Google. We search the internet, what's out there. Yeah. We're looking at how the other half lives. You know, if you're a millionaire, will you be mingling with the common folk on holiday? You don't have to. You know, you're
whatever you want.
You're part of a different group of people now that are enjoying probably more of the finer things in life, Chris. So if I was to probably expand on the holiday kind of experience, before we even get to the destination, I mean, I don't even know where I'm going to begin with. I have so many options, and I'm thinking the experience of going via the airport, you know, no longer am I going economy. I'm going business class or first class, you know. I want to experience the lounge. So before I even get to my destination, I'm experiencing new things that I've thought about, I've kind of fantasized about. I want to go to that lounge area where you've got kind of fresh kind of salmon on tap. I can have beer, wine, whatever I want. I can have a 3-course meal. in the lounge, I've got kind of waiters, waitresses, table service, whatever,
Fawning over you.
falling over me. I saw one at Air France where the first class or business class kind of experience is that you go to the lounge. It's like only the rare few are in there. You sit down and they pretty much give you kind of a 5-course meal. They take you down to the runway where you've got like a Mercedes, a Merc whip meaning car. They actually drive you on the runway to the plane, and then you board that way. You're sharing the car by yourself. You're not in a group of people. You're not queuing anywhere. It's just A to B.
Love that idea.
It's brilliant. It's completely brilliant.
What's the one thing we all hate about airports, Tony? It's the other people. Let's face it, the queues, having to go through security with all these morons who can't put their bags in the right place. We want to separate ourselves, the cream of the crop.
Yeah, I don't want to be queuing up to check in my bag or all that type of stuff,
No, do it for me.
It's like, I usually get a Burger King before, when I go on my flight. I'm like, why not have the Burger King waiting for me in the car? I mean, I think that is a reasonable request. Yeah, in the Merc, That's a completely reasonable request. And I was thinking, I definitely want to experience that if I was to take a plane. But I might not want to take a plane. And I was thinking, like, what's kind of adventurous that's all-inclusive and I can go to many places?
Do you mean the Titanic submarine?
You're not far off, Chris.
Okay.
It is similar to... It's a cruise. I would immediately go on a cruise. So with a cruise, you've got luxury where you don't need to go anywhere. On these massive cruise liners, one of them that I was looking at is called Oasis of the Sea, and that's not even top level.
And Nolan Liam on that one.
No, potentially, who knows? I'm sure they get paid very well. If they
as a millionaire, you could probably invite them on your ship, on your liner.
Some of these prices, I mean, like if they're going for like the Royal Loft Suite, I mean, only if you've got to be earning money if you were Oasis, that type of level of money to afford it. But I mean, I did have a bit of a look just to see what you could get. Like Oasis of the Sea. It seems like all types of people go on there, but you could definitely upgrade to one of the finer suites. But with these type of cruise liners, you've got everything on there. You've got multiple bars, restaurants, fancy designer shops in there. You don't even need to leave the ship really to go anywhere. But you're dropping off at certain excursions. You can hop on, hop off at certain places that you want to go. Just stay on there. You've got some very expensive, more premium kind of cruises called the Seven Seas Explorer, which came up as like one of the more very expensive premium cruises you can go on. So you're probably asking like how much would say one of the finest suites on the ship would cost? I mean, what would you reckon? How much would you be paying per night?
I reckon it's a few grand, Tony, at least. Maybe even a little bit more for the luxury suites. Am I right?
Yes, definitely in the grand. So I'm seeing a lot of different numbers here. So I was on 8 to 20 grand for some of these Royal Loft suites. But I saw ones that were like 75 grand. It depends on what the demands are on for that particular period. It can go up crazy.
Tony, you've really got to consider what is the duration. Exactly. What is the duration of the cruise? Because that's going to rack up. You can do cruises that go on for a very long time.
Okay, let's just say it's 20k per night. You do it for a 2-week cruise.
Oh.
That's expensive.
Yeah, it's a couple of $100,000 more.
Yeah, but at least you get all the free... I mean, how much food and drink can you consume or pools that you can see? And, I don't know what else is included, but you're talking... These suites aren't just like one floor. These have got... Some of them are like duplexes. They're like double floor.
Oh, that sounds good.
Incredible. So there is a warning that I would want to say.
Oh, what's that?
Chris. With these luxury cruises, they think of everything. So we touch upon like overeating and then drinking too much, where you can be putting your kind of impacting your health.
Do they have a gym?
Yes, there will definitely be.
So there's a gym on there. So you can eat to your heart's content, pop down the gym, burn it off a little bit. But I still think it's going to be really rich food in there, isn't it? It's going to be tough, Tony.
Would you go on the gym? I mean, you could do. Yeah, I would. There'll probably be a personal trainer. But there are, one of the things I wanted to say was that casinos.
And remember, this is a recent lottery winner we're talking about, so they like a bit of a flutter. Casino, is that going to invite them to blow all their winnings away?
And it's not like you can go,
idiots.
It's not like you can say, I'm just not going to go. It's on the ship. You can probably walk past it to go to your lunch and stuff.
You can hardly resist it, right?
So, just a warning for those, maybe stay clear of the casinos, but it's completely up to you.
Are you on red or black, Tony?
It really depends on what type of... It depends what I'm manifesting that day. So
exactly.
if I'm seeing red, then I'll be red all day. But you've got to remember that there's zeros and double zeros.
So, Tony, you just seeing red.
Yeah.
And that makes me think, because we've been talking about this on recent podcasts about nightclubs and etc. Fire safety on the cruise liner as well. What do you think about that?
Well, when you talk about kind of a cruise liner, there's definitely very narrow corridors.
Yeah.
Lots of people, lots of things going on, lots of lights, lots of electricity going on this kind of moving ship. But fire safety, yes, it's paramount in general. But with a cruise line, I think you might be worried about something else while being on the ship.
You're surrounded by water, aren't you?
So I'll be worried about drowning. You don't want to be drinking too much or being too crazy where you fall overboard and you're not getting burned alive. You're getting consumed by the vast ocean.
Yeah. And it's unforgiving. The ocean is unforgiving. So I think it's just another flag for our listeners out there. If you win the lottery, is a cruise right for you? It's damn expensive. I think as well, cabin fever. I think I get a little bit of cabin fever. I know they're vast and there's so many different things you can do. But I'm somebody who loves my freedom, Tony. I want to get off the damn boat. I know there are opportunities to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it stops at many fantastic destinations, but I'm not sure a cruise would be right for me. It might be right for you. I don't think it's right for me, Tony.
I think with the cruise, I mean, that's, as a new lottery millionaire.
Too many temptations there, Tony.
Yeah.
But, for
I just haven't been on one before. I just need to do it. But what about you, Chris? I mean...
well, Tony, if and when I win the lottery, the first holiday that I want to do, first thing I'm going to do, Camden, to get myself a leather outfit. And then I'm just going to roll up at Heathrow, because have you ever wanted to do that, where you just turn up at the airport, Tony, and you say, look, I haven't got a flight. You go up to the desk, 2 tickets to Berlin, please. And Tony, because if you've just won the lottery, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to let loose. You want to celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the reason why I've chosen Berlin, because as well as I do, that is the city that bleeds techno. And it's just somewhere, DJs are the high priests. Bass drops are the Holy Communion in Berlin. So that's why I want to go there and just while away a weekend.
It's still
keeping track of time.
Hips essential there, isn't it? Still?
Absolutely.
We'll fit right in, Chris, with those shades.
Absolutely. And the leather outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Essential. So that's probably what I would do. What do you think about that? I mean, obviously, cruise, it's 2 different areas, really, isn't it? It's one of, look, I'm just going to go off to Berlin. I'm going to let loose. I'm not keeping track of time. And I'll just see what happens. And when I sort of wake up at some point, I'll say, look, time to go back home. I'm not keeping track of my bank account. There's no limits.
I think in Berlin, you know what? I think you're choosing quite sensibly, because it's not going to be too hot in Berlin, I'm assuming.
No.
And it's an economic superpower within Europe.
Yeah.
So I would say it's relatively safe, and you're going to have quite a good experience in terms of, whether you do shopping, you want to look at some museums, stay in some nice hotels.
No. I was just going to go to a hostel, and then to the nightclubs. Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes those holidays is what you need. Just like you want to experience. I mean, I guess you could experience that now, Chris, but
I don't really plan to use the hostel much. Look, I just want to be in the clubs. And I will make sure the fire safety is of the right standard. I'll ask the bouncer. I know it's difficult to get in the venues in Berlin, but I'm sure they'll be willing to listen to my questions about fire safety as well.
Would you be extra generous with? Would you buy a round of drinks with some other kind of?
That's
Party
isn't that
goers.
something you've always wanted to do? Of you just rock up in a pub or in a club, you say, "This one's on me, guys. What do you want?"
DJ, play this track. What you drinking?
Absolutely. Just 100 Jaeger bombs or whatever. So I think that's what it's all about for me.
You know what you could? Okay, maybe it's not that type of club, but you know those kind of bougier clubs that they do. When you buy a whole table, they bring out all that champagne with the sparklers, and then everyone's looking at you, and then you start filming it, and then you look at me, and then all the hot women start coming to your table. You feel like the man.
You say a bottle for each of them.
Yeah, a bottle, and then like the food starts coming. Then you can just take an Instagram video, and then you go, "Oh, look at me and all these hot babes and the sparklers," and everyone's going, "Oh, look, I'm the man, I'm the man."
Can we make that happen?
You've got 4 million. You can
4
make
million.
it. I don't know how many times you can make it happen.
The only thing, because you just mentioned the sparklers there, Tony, and is that fire safety, which we keep talking about, and also flaming sambucas.
I've
There's
seen
a few different
videos.
things. I mean, and you go to clubs abroad, and they've got the flamethrowers there as well. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of learnings coming out of this podcast, and we've just got to be really appreciative that fire safety is not to be taken for granted. We saw what happened last week in Murcia in Spain. We saw the other week the tragic events in Vietnam.
Do you know what? If they still haven't discovered what started the fire in Spain, it might be some sparklers,
It probably was.
Some guy just going a bit nuts with his money and all that champagne.
But yeah, I think that would be a fantastic holiday. But if it weren't for that, I just wanted to say that, Tony, the most expensive hotel in the world, right? Other than, of course, we talked about the Titanic submarine, which isn't in existence anymore. We talked about Virgin Galactic. But on that kind of note of the Titanic submarine, there is another option, and it's called Lover's Deep, which is another submarine holiday you can go. It's 5-star, $150,000 a night. Did you hear that? $150,000 a night. And on this submarine, you get your own captain, your own private chef, and your own butler. But can I just ask, cabin fever, what? I don't know where in the sea this goes. Is it in the Great Barrier Reef or what? But are you going to get cabin fever? How big is the submarine? I mean, it's probably quite large.
It sounds like a legit submarine then. If it's 150 grand a night.
$1,000
It's got its own captain, but you got to double check. This isn't just some dude with an Xbox controller and calling himself the captain.
Yeah, well, don't know.
It's got to be an official captain.
Yeah.
Private chef. I mean, it must be quite a substantial submarine.
Legit.
My only concern with this submarine, I'm sure it's like a proper submarine, is that who knows what's happening out there. I mean, I don't want to touch on like Russia, Ukraine, but Russia trigger happy at the moment. You don't want to be just kind of going around the ocean and then Russia just sees a submarine and then boom, it kind of missile takes you out for whatever reason.
It just doesn't sound 100% safe, does it? It's a submarine.
As long as they're staying within like the Atlantic Ocean or something. I don't know.
International waters.
International waters.
Yeah, that's a good bit. But yeah, so $150,000 a night. But, we were talking about this earlier. How long does it even take the submarine to go up and down? Is that going to add on an extra night? Suddenly another $150,000 has come out of your account. But there's another option, which is a little bit cheaper than that one, and it's the second most expensive hotel in the world, Tony, which is the Empathy Suite at the Palms in Las Vegas, which we've been talking about a lot on the podcast recently. And this suite was exclusively designed by Damien Hirst himself. And in this suite, Tony, 2 master bedrooms, massage tables, jacuzzi that overlooks the Las Vegas Strip, a salt relaxation room, and you will get a private tour of the property's art collection and amenities. And the suite itself includes 6 Damien Hirst originals. So, to me, this sounds more luxurious. And obviously you get your own captain, private chef and butler on the submarine. But to me, this Las Vegas place, again, same temptations. Obviously, if you're a lottery winner recently and you're plonked into Las Vegas, are you going to blow it all? You've already spent 100 grand at the hotel.
Oof.
We've all seen The Hangover.
I'm not a Damien Hirst fan, I don't think.
Oh,
Is that
really?
a selling point?
I think it's a big selling point here, Tony. You don't like his work.
I'm not really too familiar with it.
Do you prefer...
Am I missing out?
Listen, everybody's got their own preferences. One man's Damien Hirst could be another man's Prezzo, just a night out at Prezzo, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, we like all different things, and with him being a millionaire, you can... You know what, if I'm a millionaire, why not try it?
You can choose.
Why not try
So
it?
you would give it a go, just for once?
I would give it... I mean, I think you sold it to me.
Is 4 million enough to start blowing 100 grand a night or whatever it was?
Potentially, I think, Chris.
Yeah, something different.
You know what? I think Las Vegas is always a good shout, though. I think one of my, I guess you could call it dreams. I mean, hopefully he still stays alive. Is going to Las Vegas and seeing some old style crooner, just singing like a Barry Manilow at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I've got like front row table. I mean, this is like civil. This is not like sitting with like fans and jumping around. This is like at a table,
civilized,
nice cocktail, steak. Eating while I'm enjoying kind of Barry Manilow kind of serenading me, and just really enjoying kind of life.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, and explore Las Vegas. Okay, I know we talked about casinos. I know myself, so I shall be sensible. But one of the things in Las Vegas is that all the glitz and glamour. Obviously, the rich part, but we talked about the poor people in the caves. We don't want to go down there.
No.
But with Las Vegas, I want to try the buffets. The Bacchanal buffet. I mean, there's a buffet I hear in, I can't remember what hotel it was, but it's literally lobster and champagne, all you can eat. And obviously, you don't want to overdo it. But imagine you could just have champagne and lobster.
And these are the kind of things you can do, because if you or I went there now, we'd have a look at the cost of that, wouldn't we? We'd say, oh, wow, it's not really worth it. But these are the kind of things, once you've got financial freedom, £4 million in your bank account, yeah, why not? We're going to go, we're going to do it. We're going to drop $150 for unlimited lobster and champagne.
Imagine if you had 4 million and you go to Las Vegas, then you lose it all.
Yeah, it could easily happen as well over a weekend in Las Vegas. Let's face it, it could.
I can imagine some of the top dog high rollers, they might just drop 4 million over a weekend.
Yeah.
No, that's just fun money.
Yeah,
I didn't win this time, but we'll be back.
The Billionaires Club.
Yeah,
who've come over from LA, absolutely. But Tony, I did just want to say as well, because we spoke about it before, which is the new Peninsula Hotel that opened in London a few weeks ago, I think, which was the first ever £1 billion hotel. So that's, I think we've spoken before, why not in your own backyard go and try something luxurious? But you won't believe this. Actually, the OWO, right, so it's spelled OWO, I looked it up, apparently pronounced OWO, has just opened last week in London. Okay. And that cost £1.4 billion to build and construct. And that is now the most expensive hotel in London. And the most basic room there is just £1,000 a night. So that's well within with your 4 million. Up to 25 grand for the best suite. I don't think that's too bad to just go and treat yourself. You and the missus, Friday night, something like that.
They're just one-upping each other now, aren't they?
I think
they're just a billion now. 1.4 billion is like... Okay, you need to stop it. £1,000 a night is expensive.
It is.
But if it's the basic room, I mean... Am I even going to get how basic are we
Do you have an
talking?
ensuite? I
Do you
don't
have
know.
a window? You know, how big is it? I mean, but 25 grand a night.
25 grand a night for the best suite in a 1.4 billion hotel.
If you stayed there for a week,
It's racking up.
that's maybe one night. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, 4 million, one night, why not? Treat yourself.
That would be the missus birthday and Christmas.
Yeah, easily.
No, or maybe just do 2 weeks in a not basic but mid-tier room. Well, that'll be 5 grand. Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, these are all kind of we're doing a lot of fantasizing, Chris. We haven't got the 4 million.
It's inspiration for people, and we keep saying every week there's been a jackpot winner. Who's to say that jackpot winner wasn't listening to this podcast?
That's completely true. I mean, again, feel free to email. If you've got inspiration and you're manifesting numbers throughout the week like we are, we want to hear from you guys.
Get in touch,
we want to hear stories of success.
But the thing is, Tony, they're probably following our advice because on this podcast we've said, if you win the lottery, you better not tell anybody.
Yeah.
And they know if they email us, we've got their email address now, unless it's a burner email.
Oh, yeah.
They might be worried we're going to start hounding them for a bit of money out of their winnings. I know it's only 4 million. We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't do it.
No, we wouldn't do it. I would just say that, given that we played a part in the success, I mean, they know the email address, tony.win.lotto@gmail. They can email us and go, look, guys, thank you so much. Here's a couple of £1,000 for some more lottery tickets.
Yeah.
It's almost like
you
spreading.
Inspired us.
Yeah, it's like spreading the joy.
Pay it forward kind of thing.
Pay it forward, exactly.
Yeah.
But if we go into segment 3 now, so picking next week's numbers, what are we thinking, Chris?
Well, Tony, I touched on this a little bit earlier today in the show, which was there's a way to guarantee winning the lottery. Can you believe it? And mathematicians have found that if you buy 27 tickets in the UK National Lottery, you are guaranteed to win the lottery. So, Tony, this is a discipline called finite geometry. And David Cushing and David Stewart from the University of Manchester have looked into this and said, if you buy 27 specific tickets with certain numbers, you will always be guaranteed to win with at least 2 numbers. Now, we've got to say 2 numbers only gets you a lucky dip, right? But nonetheless, if you buy these 27 tickets, mathematics proves that you will match 2 numbers and you're guaranteed to win. So this whole discipline, finite geometry, it's all about kind of matching up different numbers together. So you sort of go through all the different combinations and you are guaranteed to get 2 numbers. And that is new research from this year, Tony. I did have a little bit more of a look into this and I played around with the numbers myself, modelled it out. And I saw that your chance of getting 3 numbers is only 5%. But 5% to match 3 numbers ain't half bad. And Tony, if you match 3 numbers, that guarantees you a bit of money back, right?
You're not losing money then.
Yeah.
You just keep putting it back in it's almost like an investment that keeps coming back around again.
It's 54 quid, isn't it, to buy 27 tickets. So obviously it costs a little bit more than our usual amount. I just want to say as well that on the 21st of June, this method would have won the 2 Davids £1,810.
Wow. So they're almost starting to crack the code a little bit here.
They have cracked the code pretty much, Tony.
So 2 numbers, 27 tickets, pretty much guaranteed 2 numbers.
All you got to do, buy 27 lottery tickets, and by order of mathematics, you are guaranteed to win 2 numbers.
Wow. So 27 tickets, yeah?
27 is the number that we've got to go for there, Tony. So, and yeah, that's what we're all about. Okay, we're trying to manifest the lottery win towards us, but if we can find some tips, tricks, hacks to help us along the way, we're going to take advantage of that.
It's mathematics, isn't it, Chris?
It's mathematics.
Where's quick maths?
Quick maths. Yeah. But Tony, what we will do for all our listeners and viewers, we will share those 27 winning combinations with anybody who emails us in to ask for what those combinations are. Obviously, we can't go through it now, but we'll be more than happy to share those out.
It's actually spreading the knowledge there, Chris. If I move on to, say, my second number, Chris, my number's 51. So
51.
I kind of touched upon a similar theme earlier on about kind of cruises. And usually people think about cruises, they think of old people.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. You know, when you get a little bit later on in life, you may want to have something a little bit chill. You don't want to be hiking up a mountain.
Well, Tony, you want everything on your doorstep, right?
Exactly.
You can barely get out of bed anymore, so you only want to be going a few steps to get to the casino. Breakfast in bed, I'm sure you can get that in a cruise, all that sort of thing.
You might be, your arthritis is playing up. You might have your bunions. You can't walk to the pool or wherever, to the beach, but you want to see some water. Why not look out the window and then there's literally water all around you.
Yeah.
And you want, you don't want to be kind of faffing around with kind of like menus and stuff like that. You can have just all inclusive. Yeah, it's just a buffet. You just get whatever you need.
And let's be honest, at that age, you haven't got long left anyway. You going to watch your diet anymore? I don't think so.
Exactly. And, if you're... Okay, I won't go down that route, but I'm like, there's ways of, if you just literally just want to go like, I've enjoyed life, I want it to be over now. There's ways where you can do it.
It's absolutely, and this is a serious point because we've got to get onto that later. Euthanasia. We would explore that in later episodes because if you've got that much money, there are legal routes to do that as well. But obviously, a cruise liner is one way to do that because you've got the propellers at the back of the ship. Or did you just mean jumping overboard?
I just think that's just nature, yeah.
Let nature take its course.
The epic ocean. But you're probably wondering why I'm saying 51. But basically, what I saw in the news is that an elderly couple, they've probably worked a lot of their lives, they've got a substantial pension, and they're like, we haven't got that long left. We can't really kind of maintain ourselves at our current age.
Right, okay.
And they're probably exploring care homes, So they're like, let's go in a care home. We'll have room, we'll have kind of, I guess, helpers, nurses that are around. We'll have, maybe a small community of people where you can kind of play cards with, if you can remember what that game is. Well, I don't know. Maybe just play with some cards, whatever.
Just get into the casino.
Yeah. You can pretend, casino. Yeah. I don't know what casino in a care home.
No. I'm saying instead they've got to get on the cruise line.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they could go on a cruise. But basically, this is the same. This is right. You're saying the right thing. They actually probably looked at care homes and they're like, it's too expensive.
Yeah. And
they've actually opted to spend their kind of the golden years or golden days or whatever. They put 51 straight cruises.
Oh my good heavens!
Because it's cheaper than living in a care home.
And have they sort of worked out how long each cruise is, and they say, well, we're not going to make it beyond 85 or something. Is that what they've done?
Well, 51 is quite a specific number. That's why I said we need to use it. So they're like
51 and out. Yeah, we're going to have the 51 best cruises out there, and then we're going to jump overboard and let nature take it. I don't know.
So they've worked out 51 cruises is still cheaper than a care home. They must have gone, this is how far my pension goes. This is my pension pot. I've got, or like my savings, I can only pay for 51 cruises. If I need beyond that, I don't know, they might go...
Is that it?
Obviously, then there's other options where they'll go, okay, that's the end of the road. They're on a ship where they're surrounded.
There's no end of a road on a cruise, in the open water. So that's what's beautiful about it. But, Tony, I have to go back to that vision of, maybe care homes would be a bit of a nice place to be if they did have casinos in them. Maybe there are some care homes out there with casinos in them.
Well, could you argue that a care home in a way is a casino because they're just taking their money? It's a bit of a sad. I think it's a bit sad state of affairs to go. Oh, actually, I can't afford the care home.
Yeah,
and I am going for cruises.
Tony, there's something seriously wrong if really you can't even afford to get into a care home. But I respect their decision, given the situation they've found themselves in. Yeah, why not go out on a high?
I think the cruises is probably, I reckon from that story, more people probably consider doing it. And when we kind of go back to kind of winning the lottery and having, a substantial nest egg or like money to go, I've got options here, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't have to go, I have to go for the cruises because it's cheaper than the care. I'd rather go with the care home. So again, winning the lottery gives you essentially the ability to choose the care home of your choice.
Yep.
To essentially die in.
Whether that care home be a cruise ship, whether it be a submarine, going to see the Titanic, whether it be one of those brilliant railway journeys you can go on, for example, in India or Canada, the one in Canada with the glass ceiling. These are all the different options you have if you have financial freedom, having won the lottery. So, I really like that one, Tony. 51, and I think that's one of the higher numbers we've gone for as well, isn't it?
Certainly is. 51.
51. Well, Tony, I love that one, but something that really stuck out to me in the news this week was Holly Willoughby, because this is just shocking. Holly Willoughby's alleged kidnapper, Gavin Plum, has been foiled and indeed arrested. He had a plot where he was apparently going to bring someone in from overseas to actually kidnap Holly Willoughby, and who knows? We don't know exactly what Gavin Plum had planned, but that really did shock me, Tony. I know obviously it's been a tough year or two for Holly, but we certainly wouldn't wish that.
But this is alleged, right, still?
Sorry, you're right. It is alleged. He's the alleged kidnapper, Gavin Plum, age 36, so we cannot confirm or deny whether Gavin Plum was guilty or is guilty.
So just to get this straight, he didn't... So we're saying it's alleged because he didn't actually kidnap Holly. So
he was unsuccessful.
He didn't get to that part where he's actually kidnapped her and the police just rescued her.
As far as we know, Holly Willoughby's all right. She was due on air on this morning, I think on Thursday or Friday when the news broke, and ITV just got in contact with her and they said, Holly, look, take your time.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she was back on today, Tony. I don't know. We better check that out.
All right, so this Gavin Plum, did he... I'm just thinking, I haven't seen Philip Schofield for a while. Do you think Gavin might have got to him first?
That is... You're right. I haven't seen Philip Schofield in ages. Does anyone know what's up with him? Is he still on this morning? I'm just
thinking that, given that there was an intent on Holly, I haven't seen Philip.
Is he okay?
Are the police looking into that? Because clearly... Luckily, they foiled this. Alleged, this Gavin guy from kind of kidnapping Holly, but he might have gotten to Phil first. And, for all we know, he's kind of tied up somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was tied up, but that's not necessarily to do with this story.
Actually shocking.
But Philip, if you're out there and you're listening, just let us know you're okay. I think did he ever present the lottery?
I don't know.
He's done a lot of different shows through his time. I wouldn't be surprised if he's at least appeared. He used to be on with Mr. Blobby back in the day, didn't he? Him and Nora.
Yeah, what's that little puppet thing that he used to...
Oh, yeah, what was that called?
Yeah, it's this cute little pan puppet.
I can never look at that puppet in the same way after the allegations about Philip. I'm sorry, Tony.
It's allegations.
Allegations that we cannot comment on.
All I'm saying is that he didn't break any laws. So I'm Team Philip on this
so you've just been mentioning Philip Schofield was the number 12.
No.
Definitely under 18, right?
No. I don't know why this is your story. What number we...
No, I think actually, I do apologise. It's Gavin Plum, age 36. So we're going to go with that one. And we cannot comment on Philip Schofield because we don't know what happen. All we know is he no longer presents on This Morning, and we hope that he's okay.
Yeah.
As okay as he can be.
I think if Michael Barrymore can come back, I think Philip Schofield can.
Absolutely. So that was that one. And speaking of 18 and sort of
18 legal.
yeah. Rishi Sunak, he was a busy man last week at the Tory party conference. I'm sure that you saw, Tony, and a couple of stories caught my eye, but one of them was this policy where the smoking age is going to be raised every year. So basically, the long and short of it is, anybody born on or after the 1st of January 2009, they're never going to be able to buy a pack of fags. Can you believe it? So how that works is, obviously in 4 years' time, the smoking age will keep going up by a year every year. So you're going to get this crazy scenario where, give it 50 years or whatever, and Bob's going to be asking Barry if he can sneak in and get him a pack of Benson and Hedges. So it is a bit weird. Can you imagine? I haven't been ID'd, Tony, in ages. Can you imagine we're sort of in our 60s? How are they going to do that? Challenge 75 or...
That's going to be quite cool. So, what, cigarette, but you can still buy vape? Like, isn't vaping...
Vaping is safe. He's not touched vaping at all. And I think this is the question, Tony. I have heard smoking is bad for you.
Yeah.
Apparently, it is a big cause of disease. But should people have the choice? It's a difficult one because obviously, what do you get out of smoking? And it is a big killer. I think it's the biggest cause of cancer. It's the biggest cause of heart disease. I don't know what you think about this one.
I don't smoke. Only reason why I don't is because I'm asthmatic. So it'll be absolutely silly for me to smoke.
Yeah, but you would otherwise.
But my opinion, again, just my opinion, I think smoking looks cool.
Yeah.
Especially...
And why does Rishi want to take this away from people?
I think you have the free... I'm all for... We're all adults here.
Ah.
Actually, they're not adults if they can... Well, there will be, have to be adults, right?
Yeah, they will be.
They have to be adults to choose.
And they're going to be very old adults who are banned from smoking. So, I don't know. And, you've got to think about it. There's other risk factors. Obesity is actually a big risk factor. Have you seen him cracking down on
what, fast food?
Fast food, sugar, ultra-processed food. I don't know. We won't comment.
Fags are expensive, though. I mean, you want to be winning a lottery if you want to have a 40-a-day habit.
But it does make you wonder. I mean, Tony, do you think we're going to get a bit of a black market that comes in for cigarettes in the future? Because, if it's only legal for a certain section of the population, and the prices are going to go up even more, people can just go over the border. They can go down to France and buy a huge pack. So it's an interesting one. But something else that caught my eye, actually, while we're on this topic was HS2. Tony, we talked about this. I do want to go with the number 18 due to that law. But HS2, right. Rishi has announced it's over. The dream is over. He's not going to extend HS2 from Birmingham to Manchester. So I had a quick look at this, because we were talking about it before. £36 billion has been saved, apparently. And that money is going to be reinvested on other transport projects. But, Tony, £36 billion, it sounds like a lot, right? To you and I, it is a lot.
Substantial, Chris.
Substantial. I had a quick look. What do you think the government budget for the UK is in 1 year?
$1 trillion.
You're absolutely right. I don't know how you
I just guessed. I just thought like the biggest number that I could just to say in my head.
That is the biggest number. It is £1 trillion a year. So if you think about it, HS2 is going to be spread out over a number of years, 36 billion. That's a few billion a year. If you equate that to a household, 36 billion spread over a few years, basically like a Netflix subscription.
Well, the thing is, my only issue is that they keep adding more billions to it every single time we hear about it. It'll be up to 100 billion at some point. Or if it's not at 100 billion already altogether from when it first started.
We don't know, but all I'm saying is that we wanted to connect up our three biggest cities with this project, and it's not going to happen anymore. London, Birmingham, Manchester. What we should have been doing is connecting the whole damn country London to Scotland, and directly connected to HS1. So you can get from Edinburgh to Paris in a few hours. That's the dream. That's what it all should have been about, Tony. So I'm upset. I'm furious about this whole thing.
But do we want to go to Paris anytime soon?
Not with the bed bugs. Not with the bed bugs.
Not with the bed bugs.
The city of love. I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. It's the city of love, and you'd be afraid to go in anybody else's bedroom right now with the bed bugs.
Spreading the love.
Yeah, so you think the bed bug... Non-consensually, though.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Potentially, we don't know. I mean, there might be some people who are into that, but...
I just like the idea of it. I mean, we're just over the... I mean, it's just a Eurostar.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just worried about are there checks in place? I mean, precautions in place,
I bet there aren't.
But, we'll keep people updated to see what the
Tony,
situation is like.
we've got a friend in London who's got bed bugs. So, it's already over here. People are avoiding sitting on the tube now. People are avoiding going to the cinema and things like that. So, it's a worrying time.
Wow, so 18.
18, yeah, that's the number I want to go with because the smoking age, currently 18, will be going up every year in 4 years' time. And eventually, I don't know when they'll just give up on that. Maybe at 100?
Who knows what we'll be consuming as at that time? Vaping, I mean, what's next after vaping?
We'll have to wait and see.
Obviously, you'll hopefully be talking legals kind of stuff.
Everything that we talk about on this show is completely above board and legal.
Yes,
we don't touch on anything that's
We're
not
just
legal.
strictly talking about smoking cigarettes, not any other smoking of any sorts.
And I just want to make that clear that if you think we've said something that's not legal, you were wrong, because everything we've said on this show is legal.
Perfect. Thank you for that confirmation, Chris.
You're welcome.
Talking about kind of, I guess, kind of legal stuff, or I guess crime.
Crime? Are we back to Philip Schofield, or...?
He didn't. We clarified this.
Sorry,
Chris.
right.
He didn't commit a crime.
Allegedly.
There's no crime committed.
No, there was no...
Maybe frowned upon, alleged, well, whatever is alleged in terms of Philip Schofield.
We should make that clear. Philip Schofield did not, as far as we know, commit any crimes. And he's in the clear.
In my book, and my final point on that, Chris, is that morning TV isn't the same anymore about Philip Schofield.
You're right.
So it's my loss, really.
Maybe that's why Gavin Plum wanted to kidnap Holly. He's just like, look, I'm not letting you go until you reach out to Philip Schofield and bring him back on this morning.
I mean, I can see the reasoning behind why he would want to... I mean, sometimes you need to understand what's the thought process. And if that's the thought process of Gavin Plum, then power to him. The way he went about it is probably not the best way.
No.
But,
But you never actually...
He probably had the best intentions.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not too sure. Again, can't comment. I'm just assuming.
It's all alleged.
All alleged. So my one is the number 17.
Right.
So the reason why I've chosen 17 is I came across an article, Chris, and I believe it was in America, but a man riding a farm vehicle...
like a tractor or something?
Some type of, farm tractor vehicle type of thing, was arrested for a second DUI, so drinking under the influence. So we've talked about smoking, but again, we won't go through alcohol. Clearly, alcohol was probably more of a strain of society, but, that's a bigger debate for another day. But he was arrested for a second DUI 17 minutes after release from a first DUI arrest. I mean, you can't help some people, really. I mean, clearly he has a problem.
So he was released, presumably, from the police station after being picked up for a DUI, and he just wandered off and found a tractor or whatever and started driving that back home.
17 minutes after he was released.
But, Tony, shouldn't the bobbies have driven him back home?
It sounds like a remote place. Maybe they just didn't have the time. It's just like farmland and stuff like that. But
Okay.
I thought that was quite specific. That they probably, it might have been the same cop. Who knows? They might have just let him go then they're like, okay, off you go, you're free. Here's a warning. First, your DUI, we're releasing you. The same copper must have gone out driving to kind of, again, just patrol surrounding areas. He sees a tractor going kind of zigzagging across the road or wherever. And then, surprise, surprise, it's the same guy that just released. So he must have looked at his watch and go, that was just 17 minutes ago.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. But again, just on the podcast, do not drink and drive.
No, drink responsibly.
Definitely do not drink and drive.
And it's like we said last week, because last week we obviously had the dog.
Yes.
The beaming canine behind the wheel of the car in Bratislava in Slovakia. And we don't endorse any of that. Unless your dog, and I say it again, unless your dog really happens to be a genius, like Beethoven, then you've got your own reasons for doing that. But don't go through a speed camera with the dog at the wheel.
Exactly. And another case for a cruise is that on a cruise, you're moving, you don't need to drive anywhere. Say if you went to a normal holiday, you're like, I've rented a car, I'm going to go from this bar to this restaurant, I had a few wines. Don't put yourself in that position. Just stay on the cruise. I would still say consume alcohol in a reasonable fashion. But the only kind of danger you're in is just trying to get through a kind of a corridor to your room. Or go to the next bar, but you can always find your way back home because someone on board will know where you actually are staying because
the captain.
Yeah, they could search you. They'll probably have a photo. Oh, you're in this room or what deck you're on. Easy.
But yeah, I mean, Tony, just want to close the loop on this one about the DUI. Have we identified who this man is? Because we said it. We haven't seen Philip Schofield in ages. We're a bit worried about him. Could it have been Philip?
I don't think it was Philip. I mean, if I was to look at who was this actual guy, I mean, there should be a name here somewhere.
Pennsylvania.
So it was in Pennsylvania. The driver identified as the 49-year-old man from Lancaster.
And honestly, how old is Philip Schofield? Because we haven't seen him. Maybe he's moved over to Pennsylvania.
I don't know.
He's a bit older than that, maybe.
I think it's Philip Schofield. I mean, he's a bit of a silver fox.
Yeah, I think
he's
he's
got white
50s.
I would say he's 50.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But who knows? Could be a cover story.
Yes, exactly. Maybe he did win the lottery, although he was a millionaire already. So he probably is somebody who could benefit from a cover story at the moment. A bit like Hugh Edwards. We haven't seen him for a while on TV either. So that's the thing. These are all the options you have when you have that much money available to you. You don't have to stay in the same place.
I think we're in different. We're just focused on of the money. We're like that's what's driving us. We want to be rich. Philip Schofield is already a millionaire. He's on the next type of kind of. He's interested in something else.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We don't know what that is.
Yeah. So 17, and then if I move on, I guess to our last number, Chris.
Last number.
So something that kind of popped up on a bit of I guess on my feed, on my kind of bit of a news feed that I've got.
And this one really did make me grizzle.
I can see why, because it's about three bears, and this is not Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This is a bit more of a sadder story, where maybe exploring places where you shouldn't be exploring might get you into trouble. I think Goldilocks got in trouble by going to the house, right, and eating the porridge of the bears. Well, it's kind of flipped on its head, where you got three bears they've wandered into kind of a factory. I believe it's a tatami mat factory in Japan, and obviously the workers there are probably going like, "Oh my god, there's three bears in here. I'm going to leg it out of this factory." They're kind of occupying this factory, and then they've had to call in the authorities to go, we've got a bit of an issue here. We've got three bears in the factory. We can't get to work. We can't earn a living. Something needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I guess the Japanese authorities have taken quite an extreme resolution to the situation, and the bears were captured and killed. So essentially, the officials official calls for use of hunting guns in town to be made legal now.
Right, they're going the American style.
Yeah, the reason why is because there seems to be a rise in a number of marauding bears.
Marauding bears. Okay, so they're just wandering about the place in Japan.
And, they've probably... What have they got to kind of defend themselves? Not much, really.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And
Yeah, I
mats.
mean...
They've only got mats around them.
Yeah.
They need something a bit more firepower.
You're not going to take down a bear with a mat, are you? Just whacking him with a doormat or whatever.
Yeah, so... Essentially, yeah. I believe it was in northern Japan. So they were holed up inside for nearly a day, have been captured and killed, according to town officials and media reports. But a bit more detail is that a patrolling kind of official spotted the bears, and the 3 bears. I mean, this is quite sad. Is that?
Oh no!
It looked to be a parent and 2 cubs, so they took out a whole bear family. Just because they kind of found themselves in a factory. Maybe they were just curious.
That is bear sad.
Yeah, that's bear sad, bruv. So that's the number 3 that I thought I'll go.
I know. You sort of brought it down, brought the tone down a little bit, Tony, on that one. But you know what? It's good for the people of Japan that they're safe to get back in that factory and earn their living. And make those tatami mats. So, yeah, so that's obviously the numbers that we're picking. Tony, just before we move on to confirm what those numbers are, we've had more emails. So I just want to go through it. As we said earlier, we cannot possibly get through all of the emails that we have. But a quick shout out to Nicole in Las Vegas. And you might remember, Tony, we mentioned on the show last week that we want to get out to Las Vegas and do a bit of investigative journalism because, this whole Tupac thing, okay, now they've pinned it on this gang leader. Is he actually dead? A lot of people don't believe that Tupac ever died, and we just want to find out. We also mentioned about Elvis. A lot of proponents of the theory that Elvis never died. He's still around. We even spoke about potentially a duet between Elvis and Tupac, which I think would be amazing. But Nicole said she'd love us to come and investigate. However, be aware that Elvis actually died in Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee, not in Las Vegas, which we did sort of know that at the back of our minds, but we got carried away.
I did keep hearing about Graceland, so I just assumed... I mean, that's where he's buried, but that's, I guess, he was killed now.
Yeah, well, he died on the toilet,
he died.
didn't he?
Apparently.
Allegedly.
One of the things that stuck out, so are we saying that, again, this problem that keeps cropping up is that a man was wrongfully imprisoned for a murder that didn't happen?
It could be, allegedly. Or we wouldn't allege it, but it's possible that's what happened.
I saw a documentary about that.
About Daniel Khalif.
No, but he could be another victim of wrongful imprisonment for a crime that they didn't commit.
Which is alleged. And we can't confirm or deny.
Can't confirm or deny. All I want is just ensure that processes have been put in place and followed through thoroughly.
Rigorously.
And justice has been served. That's all I'm after. I just want justice.
I mean, we do, obviously... We've been talking about the US. One thing we can guarantee is that in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, justice will be served.
Yeah.
And we can guarantee that.
Yeah. And the only thing that I would say is probably a bit better than justice is probably Avengers. There's better than the Justice League.
Absolutely. That's
the only thing that I can think of that might be better than justice.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't argue with that at all, Tony. But yeah, just a couple more emails that we had. That's a great one from Ola in Kraków in Poland. And what she said, she's responding to the episode where we talked about what would you do if you won the lottery. And she said she would love to go on holiday, buy a house. And then the interesting bit I thought, which was a bit different to our answers, is she said she would then love to set up an animal shelter, which I thought was really nice. And obviously we just spoke about those deceased bears who, in a way, cruelly, and then we had the dog at the wheel in Bratislava, Slovakia, not far from Poland.
That dog wasn't put down, was it?
It wasn't put down, but,
The bully dogs might have been.
Well, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The bully dogs, which have been banned from the UK, XL American bully dogs. That's the question to Ola, really, is in an animal shelter, you've got to start making those moral choices because it's not going to be limitless. With a jackpot of £4 million, which animals are you going to prioritise? And would you accept American XL bully dogs?
You know what, Chris? I think Ola's so on theme with this episode. Holidays. She wants to buy a house and stuff. Animal shelter. I think she would be, again, if I had currently just through all the emails I've gone through. I mean, Ola's just popping up because it's relevant this week. Is that after we win the lottery, I'd want Ola to win the next jackpot so she can set up this animal shelter, save more bears, and save more dogs. Bully dogs, that is.
Save bear dogs.
Yeah,
Why
bear
not?
dogs. Yeah, bear dogs.
I really like that. And we got so many other emails. But just
we've done three. Okay, go on.
We've done three. No, just a
yeah.
quick shout out to Barbara in Faversham as well, who emailed in too. But Tony, I'll let you recap the numbers.
Yeah, so I think we've worked out the manifestation of this week's numbers. So the numbers I'm picking this week are as follows: 3, 17, 18, 27, 36, and 51. So those are numbers where we hopefully will, looks like, try and win next week's £4 million. I hope it's more, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 4 million.
Listen, we've kind of got used to it being 4 million now. As you say, we might as well rename the show. So we've explored it. There's a lot you can still do with 4 million Great British pounds. Whether that
space.
You can go to space. You can get in a submarine with your own private butler. You could open your own animal shelter. There's loads of different things. So we've got to be thankful for it. Right?
You know what? This space thing might be a thing. Like, I've been manifesting stuff where I'm seeing in my mind on Earth. Maybe I start need to look at the stars. Astrology.
Astrology could have the answers.
I think there's answers there.
Yeah, you're right. Is this going to be a lucky week? Is my chart pattern in Jupiter or is it in Saturn? These are the kind of questions of, should I be playing the lottery right now at all? Or should we take a pause?
Or where the planets, isn't there something that happens where the planets align and stuff like that? When's the next eclipse? When is the next shooting star that's coming around?
Tony, we can get my mum on because she knows all about this.
We need help. We might need someone that kind of gave life to you and channel through her manifestation.
Or, if people want to email in, again, just give us some tips about all of this.
Sometimes the answers might be closer than we think.
Yeah.
We might need to talk to our parents a bit more.
Yeah, you're right.
But yes, I guess we'll have to explore that in kind of the next episodes or the next coming few episodes, Chris.
Absolutely.
But we'll see how these numbers plays out. I guess that brings us to the end of episode 5, Chris.
Episode 5 of Win Me the Lottery. Win Me the £4 million lottery. But we will be back. And what's our topic of the week for next week, Tony?
I still haven't decided. I guess people will have to kind of tune in and find out. But we're always going to be covering topics that are relevant for if you win the lottery.
Absolutely.
Goodbye.
Thank you.